We want to dive into a topic we haven't talked about in a while, but I think is going to be an important topic. It's gone dormant for a while, and this is the topic of crypto gaming. I can tell you we've explored this thoroughly, though. Okay, and it was probably most like 2 years ago. Let me read you some episode titles to get us kicked off here. The Crypto Gaming Revolution. This is with Ariana Simpson. The Emerging Metaverse. This is with the folks at Galaxy Ventures. Web3 Gaming 101, Amy Wu. The Dawn of Crypto Gaming, we had Robbie on. What's real about crypto gaming? This was all like 2 years ago when it felt like the gaming narrative was like really taking off. And, if you remember that time, Axie was hitting like all time highs and it had grown from like, I don't know, $10 million in market cap to multiple billions. Since that time, things have really quieted down. And I want to find out from you guys, do games still need crypto? Like, why? Like, what's the story with games and crypto? Has it died? Is it set for a resurgence? Give us the take. We'll start with you, Michael.
I mean, I think the thesis here is really simple. If you have two games and they're the exact same game, the same gameplay, the same game mechanics, one of them is in a digital ecosystem like a PlayStation or an Xbox or a computer that we're used to playing and have been for the last couple of decades. The other is the exact same game played on the exact same venue, but you actually own parts of the game, whether it be your characters or resources or attributes within the game. And you put that up against anyone who's an avid gamer and you say, do you want to play this game or the other game, the one with ownership or the one without? I think just about everybody would say, okay, if it's the exact same game and I'm going to enjoy it the exact same way, I want ownership. And I think what we've been waiting for and taking it back to what you were talking about, Ryan, is, 2 years ago, we didn't really have any fun to play games. There were sort of like random number generator based games with two-dimensional artwork. And what's happened since is there's been multiple years, hundreds of millions of dollars invested into games and game ecosystems that have been developing and gestating and are now kind of set to launch. And games are, really, really, massive markets, but they're also really hard to build. And so I'm excited just because, we've been waiting and investing and building, and it's kind of time for that to come to the forefront.
So, Michael, let me take the skeptic take for just a minute, because we started this podcast on maybe a skeptical kind of lens, and I don't think we'll conclude there. But we got to start there because there's a lot of questions. You said that if you give any two games one game, you can sell your assets, you have ownership of your assets. Gamers will prefer that rather than the other, right? That was my thinking too. I legitimately thought this. I think I still think this, and yet we haven't seen that played out, because if you call that thing an NFT. Right now, we've seen the gaming community kind of rebel against this. I must have watched like an hour and a half long video about how NFTs and games are just like, it's the end of gaming. Gamers like consistently, all sorts of threats. I know gamers like to complain, but there's a consistent chant of we hate NFTs. So it seems like if you call them NFTs, we might be in trouble. Maybe there's a branding problem. And then there's also this other accompanying thing, which is like some gamers will tell you, nah, if you start monetizing it, it becomes too real for me, and it becomes more like a job, and you actually take the fun. I go to games to escape. These have been two of the persistent, I think, themes from gamers. Is one is this anti-NFT thing. They see it as exploitative, maybe. And another is like if you inject economics into it, then it becomes like a job, and I start to lose the virtual, escapism element of my games. So what's your take on that?
I've got a take on it. So like asking the the people who play or who like go to Kotaku, which is like a game rating website, who play like super intense games like Dark Souls or Final Fantasy, asking them if crypto gaming is real or the right thing to do is like asking traditional finance if DeFi is interesting. It's just like not the right segment. It's not the right job to be done. The real answer of like it's not about like if crypto needs gaming or if gaming needs crypto. It's what users want. And I tweeted this out a few days ago, but when I was early in the NBA Top Shot Discord, it was filled with people trying to turn $5 into $10, or people trying to turn their time into any amount of money. And if you think about like the crypto use cases that we have today, like DeFi is like a power user segment. NFTs are kind of this whole other thing. Games are really the only thing that can fulfill this need of like, I've got some money, I've got some time, I'm trying to play a game, I want to have some ownership. And sure, like the people who play like Gears of War or Final Fantasy, like they're not going to want the NFTs. But the people who are playing Candy Crush, which is frankly most of the gaming market, the people who are overseas who don't have the same access to economic opportunity, like those are going to be at least the first cohort of people that try and use these games. And you're going to see it start out international. You're going to see most of the users in Asia. You're going to see most of the users in Eastern Europe. And then as you kind of build that side of the game, the labor side, you're going to see the capital side flow in and kind of build the sustainable game economy. And I don't think the question is like whether you can build a crypto game that works. Like there's no rules that say you can't. And what we're doing on DeFi is kind of like an early iteration of a crypto game anyways. I think the question is, can you build a sustainable economy? And that's kind of like where the discussion gets more nuanced and more interesting. Like, I don't think anybody wants to recreate Axie. It's just like financial napalm for retail. It just doesn't work. What you do want, though, is something that looks and feels like a game that you might play where you earn some money, but you also really like playing it. And that goes on in perpetuity. And that means probably less reflexive token economics, but it doesn't mean taking them out as a whole.
To continue leveling up your crypto game, then you need to get on the Bankless newsletter. It's the world's most popular crypto email and is completely free. Just click below to sign up.